So we get caught in these dilemmas of, yeah, the law says certain things, and it's all based on federal tribes, and yet there's at least 600 entities in the United States that are not federally recognized. There's about 600 that are recognized or acknowledged by the federal government. In the way the law was written, it makes it imply that only 600 tribal groups can ever enter into this, when in fact it's probably 1,200 groups can actually enter into the conversation. But the problem we always have is how do you referee this in the court? And in the case of the grandmothers, we've been trying to negotiate a peace between the two, but it doesn't always work. In the case of the adoption going out, the mother does not want this to become a public issue, and all we can do is put in the child's jacket, if you want to call it a jacket or a record, that they have certain inalienable rights to seek out their tribal identity when they turn of age. And this has been kind of a standard approach we've had to take, because some states say, without that federal acknowledgement and a reservation that we could put the kids back on again, or continuing cultural activities from the community, it makes it very difficult. All we can do is say, encourage the adoptive family or the foster care people to take the child to a powwow, give them some cultural grounding, and we'll work this into the agreements. And if this is a traumatized case where the children are institutionalized, we go toe-to-toe with the courts and bring it right into the record that they have the rights to pursue their blood right as a tribal member of some group. And that's all we can do at this point. Is anything coming out of New Hampshire? Absolutely not. I don't know whether it's the fact that there's a failure in the system here, not to acknowledge there's any Indigenous people here. And we've heard from Concord so many times that the Abenaki were a pass-through group. They had no bearing here. They had no livelihood here. They never actually settled here at any time in history. And we find it very frustrating that this is the dialogue that comes out of Concord even today. So without saying any more, it is working, but it's working with little bits and pieces. All we can do as non-recognized tribes is make sure that children are protected first and foremost. And that's always our agenda. Make sure that the children are protected in any fashion, and let them know that they are Indigenous if they are in fact being identified correctly. We do also see a lot of fraud in this process. Attorneys get this bright idea, we can stop the case by just saying they're Indigenous, and it's almost like they go to an almanac with Indigenous names, and they start with Abenaki. And I can't tell you how many Abenaki Blackfoot I get. I'm a combination Abenaki and Blackfoot. And then we have to do our due diligence to find out if any of the unrecognized Abenaki groups know these people. And almost always there are fraud going on.
Well, thank you, Paul. And you bring up a good point that is probably important to state, and that is, though the Abenaki people are not federally recognized, and though the state of New Hampshire has not officially recognized any Abenaki, there are, recently the state of Vermont recognized 4 bands of Abenaki. And so once you are a state recognized band, you have those rights of a state recognized tribe. So there's 2 things I can legally do. It was one of my frustrations in one particular case where a child they thought was going to be Abenaki. The workers called me and then they're like, oh, they just want some money benefits. And at that point, with no state recognition from Vermont, there was 0 benefits of being Abenaki. But since state recognition, and as a member of the Nulheghan Band, I can now legally have eagle feathers or other feathers from migratory birds, and I can haul my Abenaki baskets Indian made, and that's it. So for those people who think there's some big fiscal reward in being Native American, other tribes have other circumstances, as Paul pointed out, there's many tribes and each one has its own thing. So, yes, Paul.
I'd like to thank the theater for doing this, and I understand Karen's, what she's gone through, and the fact that other people have gone through. I'm mixed. I'm French, Irish, Polish, and Russian. I'm also Blackfeet and a descendant of the Blackfeet Nation. A little bit of Micmac, Chippewa, and Cree, and I have family on the Blackfeet Reservation. reservation. My mother, I'm clearly mixed, my mother was darker than me, and she experienced a lot of the racism that you've experienced, and I also lived on a reservation where I actually was minority, because I was lighter and there was more full-blood, so it's been, having a lot of my family be darker, I can understand that there's a lot of racism that goes on. And I'm hoping that you'll bridge that gap. Now, in New Hampshire, a lot of us are working on something, the New Hampshire Coalition for Indigenous Peoples Day. And these guys and all of us are working on trying to get Columbus Day changed to Indigenous Peoples Day. So we have a page on that. The Cossack Band also has a page, and a whole bunch of us are working together to bring awareness of this. And it would be great if you guys could join in and share the word, and let's help change the past. There are people that don't understand, but even we testified at the State House, there was racism right then and there. There were people that, when we testified about what happened with Columbus, they didn't know the truths. They didn't believe that there were Indigenous peoples in this area. They don't understand the past. So we still have to teach our legislators in the state the truth of what happened. But we have the power to correct that, and I encourage you. We're going to have a petition that we're going to be working on. We're on our page. If you can share it with your legislators, share it with your friends. We spoke at Durham. Is it Durham? Durham. Had, and you guys all worked on that. Worked
The
on
murals.
Do you want to speak about that?
Briefly, the
Yeah.
murals. Is
Well,
it the murals you're talking about?
Well, it started with the murals, but then the town...
If you just keep it brief.
Yeah, the town decided that it wasn't enough just to address the murals. They doubled down and they made it a town action to change Columbus Day to Indigenous Peoples Day. And then they went forward and they went to their Oyster River school system, which includes Lee, Madbury, and Durham, and they changed their calendar to be Indigenous Peoples Day.
Nice.
And they plan to have celebration of Indigenous people all this fall and a continuing program of honoring that they are actually on our lands that were once a well-known Abenaki community.
And so,
Nice.
and then you guys are also working with UNH. You want to talk about that, to bring awareness about that?
You want to do that?
Well, in an effort to try to recognize that we're a community and we need to build neighborly relationships, we have organized the Indigenous New Hampshire Collaborative. It's downstation at the University of New Hampshire, but it's students, faculty, community volunteers, tribal members. So
Very nice. And if people are interested, how can they get a hold of you?
well, we have 2 websites that we run. We have YouTube, we have Instagram. If you go on Indigenous New Hampshire as one word.com,
Okay.
I'm sorry, Indigenous NH, we
Okay.
can abbreviate,
Uh-huh.
you'll be able to send us a message.
Very nice.
And reach out to the University of New Hampshire Anthropology Department, Svetlana Pieshkova. I have a Russian name.
Okay.
I'm not Indigenous here, but elsewhere.
Thank you, yes.
So, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sarah?
Yes.
Just coincidentally, there's a kind of visiting scholar from Colorado who's coming around who talks about the Indian boarding schools. And she's done some research on that from the perspective of the churches that, in this case, the Quaker churches that ran those schools. So there's going to be, we're having a presentation from her on October 25th.
That's really interesting.
Where?
I've been aware of the Methodists and the Catholics, but I don't think I've heard Quakers running boarding schools.
Yeah, 11 of them, something like that.
Yeah. Oh, and so where will that be?
That's going to be on October 25th at the Concord Friends Meeting. You can look it up on concordfriendsmeeting.org.
Interesting, thank you.
Anybody else? Well, thank you all for coming. Thank you, Sherry. And hopefully we'll see you for Indians Who Rock the World.
Thank you very much. Thank